Hey, let's try this question too, this exam type question here. And they say, what is R2? Well, first we better read this stuff. QR equals RT. We got that. We got the QOS is the diameter. Ooh, we got angles that are opening up to that diameter that make it 90 degrees. That's important. We got the T is 35 degrees. Okay, so let's just give it a try. How could we get R2? Well, like I just said, R1 opens up to a diameter angle on a semicircle, half a circle. So that makes it 90 degrees. Well, that makes R2 90 degrees, and that's it. Angles on a semicircle make R1 90 degrees, but it's got to equal R2 because it's got to add up to 180. So we got R2. Now, what about S2? Well, that looks, if we write 90 degrees in there and 35 there, angles in a triangle, these two have to add up 90 and 90 is 180. That's got to be 55 because of angle summing in a triangle. Well, there's S2 all done. Now I'm looking at this triangle that looks a lot bigger, but they're not drawn to proportion. It's got to be exactly the same as this. Why? Because they share a side here. They both have 90 degrees here, and they have the same side here. Well, angle side angle makes these two triangles congruent. And if they're congruent, Q2 must be 35 degrees too. But it sure doesn't look like it, but that's what has to be true. QRS is congruent to TRS because SR is common, because AR equals RT, and because they both have 90 degrees in between those two sides. Angle, side angle. Now we've got this as 35 degrees, but hey, this angle up here, QPS, we know that it's 90 degrees. And if we look at this big triangle QPT, if that's 90 and that's 35, this whole angle Q1 and Q2 must be 55. That makes Q1 20 because 20 and 35 make 55. So QPS is 90 degrees, angles on a semicircle, then Q1 must be 20 because of the angles adding up in QPT. Now, I've done this question different ways. There's different ways of doing it, but I think that's a pretty good way. Okay, let's try the last question. What does P1 equal? Well, OQ and OP are radii. And if that's 20 degrees, that must be 20 degrees because of angles opposite equal radii. And that's what I put down. It's kind of like two reasons. They're both radii and angles opposite equal sides, but I call it angles opposite equal radii make P1 20 degrees.